10th. And we have a quorum. Call the meeting to order. And I need to amend the agenda to include a few things, and I apologize that I didn't get this information back to Joyce in time, but a couple things we need to deal with today that are not on here. One is the conversation about Grant Ducey's salary. The second one is just to make the commission aware of the letter that was written to Brian Cook, who is a septic hauler that wanted to bring septic to the Kent sewer plant. Another one is to just follow through on the letter to the Ewers. Last one is, or a couple more, non-sewer discharges. I think we need to discuss that a little bit more carefully. We had a conversation about the sewer garage roof. Another thing is time of meetings. And lastly is rate increases for the sewer. So anyway, I would like to make a motion to add 1, 2, 3, 4, those 7 items onto the agenda.
Where do you want to put it?
Why don't we put it, I guess, new business?
You need a motion, second. You need a motion or a second?
I think I need a motion first.
So moved.
Okay, second.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we need to approve the minutes of December 13th. And get a motion to approve the minutes of December 13th.
So moved.
Thank you. So new business 1, Grant Ducey's.
You need to finish that vote.
Sorry, I thought somebody had seconded it. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. Okay.
All in
So-
favor?
All in favor? Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the Grant Ducey salary. It came up that he has now been there for 3 months, and we had in the minutes back in October said that he would not be considered for a raise until the spring of 2023. However, the letter that went out to him said that after 3 months, that the position would be reviewed, and that most likely, as long as he's doing what he needed to do, that we would consider giving him another $1 an hour. And I'm asking the commission if they would review his position right now and maybe consider giving him the extra $1 right now. He seems to be on schedule with taking classes, going to school, getting his permits. And he has been working really hard, and he has in actuality saved the commission a boatload of money because he repaired the payloader at the sewer plant a couple of weeks ago, which saved us a lot of money, probably about $1,500. So that being said, I was wondering if the commission would consider giving him the $1 raise right now. And then once he passes his first set of exams, then we would review his pay, which I think it's supposed to happen again in April, another 6 months, but at least for right now, we would consider giving him the other $1 an hour. I mean, I personally would hate to have to start to look for somebody else to fill his position at the plant when he seems to be working out really well. So I know the timing on it is crazy, but Barbara.
I think it's actually in the budget, so I don't think that's a budgetary concern if you give
Okay.
it to him now.
Okay.
Can
So,
I ask Lyle a question?
Yes.
Lyle, what do you
Yes,
think?
John.
What do you think?
He's a smart kid, works hard, he's here on time, doesn't race out the door when it's time to leave. He asks questions, picks things up. Very rarely he's asking the same question twice. He's a smart kid, and he has, to be young again, to retain things, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You know,
Listen,
and he was well aware of what he was getting into when he was looking for a position in the wastewater business because of his uncle, is Mike. He's a level 4 down in New Milford, so he's well aware of what needs to be done in the schooling and everything, and he's gung ho for it. And plus, it's plus that he lives 14 minutes down the road.
do you think he deserves more than $1? I mean, I don't know is it in writing that it's only $1 more?
Well, it's $1 for right now, but
yeah.
eventually he comes up for a $2.50 raise once he passes his on his first license.
When is that going to be, Lyle?
He has till September of this year to put in to take the test, and he has the whole year to do it. But his goal is that when it's his 1-year anniversary, that they'll hand him his license certificate. So that would mean he'd have to test before his 1-year anniversary. Because even if he tested today, the state will not honor that. Technically he'll be licensed, but he won't have that certificate actually in hand till he's at his 1-year anniversary. But that's what his goal is, to be licensed and certificate ready.
It's hard to get good people. I would personally give him an extra $1 on top of it, but we have to go by the rules and regulations.
So may I get a motion to approve the $1 an hour increase in Grant Ducey's pay?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay. Next was, there was a gentleman by the name of Brian Cook who owns a company called Brian F. Cook. It's a septic hauler on the New York side. And he had come asking us to accept septic from him. And he would be comparable to like the volume that Savarese brings us. And, and granted, while, business drops off kind of a little bit in the wintertime, the volume that he was planning to bring us would it would be tough for the sewer plant to deal with it in the wintertime, because evidently in the wintertime, it's just harder to, move the septic around where it needs to go, and the maintenance performed on the lagoons and things like that, with that type of volume of waste coming in the wintertime makes it very, very difficult to process and stuff. So just to let you know, we wrote him a letter saying, thank you for wanting to, whatchamacallit, because he had written to the town hall. That's why we had to address it. So anyway, so Darlene was copied on this. And at any rate, he was informed that we wouldn't be able to accept his volume of business at this present moment. So I just want to let you know that that's kind of that did happen. I have a question for Joyce. Did the letter get written to the Ewers saying that we were not going to discount their sewer bill?
I believe that Debbie did that. Is that not true, Debbie?
Yes,
Because-
yes,
okay.
and she came in and she paid her bill in full.
Okay, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure she did. So thank you
Yes.
for taking, I just didn't see a copy of the letter. So I just wanted to make sure that we didn't blow her off or anything like
Well-
that, that we addressed it properly.
I'm not sure if it was an official letter. I never sent an official letter, but I do know she came in and she paid.
Okay, well, then I guess she went off. I had texted her just saying that the commission would not be able to give her a serious discount and stuff like that. And, and I'm sure she was using that water. I mean, she didn't put in that many trees, but she was probably using it to top off their swimming pool too, which, got expensive. But at any rate, okay, just wanted to follow through on that. But in addition to her, we had discussed the possibility of doing remote meters for people, so that if they were doing some serious for those who do like some serious gardening and watering here in town, who are on the sewer line, that they could put in a remote meter. And I, Bart wrote a letter, I believe Joyce sent it out to all of you of the conversation and stuff. I don't think we want to get into that can of worms, only because I just think I don't know. That's my feeling on it, but I need to hear what everybody else feels about having people who I do a lot of watering, and I know John Casey over on the Kent Green does a lot of watering, and he doesn't have a separate water meter, nor do I have a separate water meter. I mean, it's just the way it is, but I need to hear from the commission how they feel about allowing a separate, a water meter to go in for people who either are gardening or filling swimming pools or whatever they're doing.
My question is, if they put in a separate meter, is it measured at a different price? I mean, are they?
It would be, because it wouldn't be going through it, the way the
Oh.
sewer system works right now, it's water in, water out. So the way that would happen is it would just be water, it would just be a one charge, and then the
Yep.
sewer commission wouldn't get the
Okay.
the benefit of that other half of the income.
And would we be the ones responsible for putting in such a meter, or would it be the homeowner's cost?
The homeowner would put it in. The way Bart had designed the structure for it, he had made it be like a $300, an annual, or I think it was a one-time fee of $300 for an application. And then there would be $100 or, he had, what's his face? Jeff Sankowitz had been consulted on this too. And Jeff said, have it, a service fee of $100. And Bart said, that's just not enough money to make it worthwhile to have it monitored and checked, once a year and stuff like that, because it would add, more work onto the sewer commission. But I'm thinking that the number of people that it really impacts, I just don't think that we should get into that can of worms, but I just need to hear from everybody else what you think about it. Or if you don't, which is fine too, we can just move on and let it
No,
go.
I'll stay with the same program that we have right now. It doesn't make any sense to have two separate programs.
I know we did it for 100 North Main Street because the guy came and like badgered us to, put that in. But I think going down the road, it doesn't really affect that many people. And I just think, it would affect the income of the sewer commission as well. And I just don't think that's a really good idea right now.
Correct. Yeah.
So is everybody in favor of leaving the system as it is, or considering down the road putting in separate water meters for those who do excessive watering?
I'd go for separate meters. It just seems fair. People aren't using the sewer, they shouldn't pay for it. Obviously, they'd have to pay for the thing. I don't feel that strongly about it. It just seems like it's a matter of fairness that people who don't use the sewer shouldn't pay for the sewer, just water. So,
No, it's everybody uses the sewer. This is only these are only the sewer users that would have that opportunity to put in a separate water meter. It's
right, no, I
not-
understand.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I understood that. Yeah, no, of course they still use the sewer, but water that they're using on their lawns doesn't go into the sewer, so they shouldn't be paying for the sewer for that portion, seems to me, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think if you aren't in the sewer system and just watering your lawn or topping off your pool, then there should be a different charge.
Lyle.
I'm on the other side of the coin. I'm on the same side as Alyssa is. As far as the reading goes, now you have to consider that, like I have to go to Voorhees' house and read their meter. Their meter's on the outside of the house. Which is a good thing that it's on the outside of the house. But anybody who's went there with me, right from Jesse right to Grant Now, you know, I tell them, don't even look at the house. Don't look at the windows. Don't do anything. You know what I mean? Because we go and read the meter on the outside of the house. We have no contact with the people in the house or anything like that. And, you know, to me, it's almost like you're invading their privacy to me. I understand that they have a meter that needs to be read. But, you know, like I told Grant when we went and read the meter, you know, don't look in the windows, don't look at the house. This is where we go. We travel up this path, that meter, come back to the truck. You know, that's all we need is when somebody glance at the house and somebody's kid is in there or you know, you know how things can go south on for stupid reasons. And that, like that 100 North Main reading, I get that guy on the phone and he remotely unlocks his house for me to go in. You go down his basement. One, I don't want to go down his basement. Two, I don't want to be in his house when nobody's there. You know, I have to say that I don't want that responsibility. You know,
Mhm.
I don't think, I mean, I water all the time, and I have to say, and seeing what Dorothy's bill was for that quarter, which was like $800, a little over $800, I think. I mean, we use a lot of water here at the restaurant. I mean, believe me, and my bill goes, you know, it's usually around 700, 750 and stuff like that. So she must have been like watering everywhere on the property. I mean, and we always are running water here because, you know, sometimes we have to thaw stuff out that we're using, and you have to use this, you know, water to cool it down really quickly, or you're cooling soups and things like that. So I don't know. I think all of us who've been in this, what I call the old fire district where the sewer is connected. I know, I think we've all been using it on that system for so long that I don't think we need to deal with changing it. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, it's not like it's a huge amount of money. I mean, she happened to be watering. I mean, she could bring in water to fill her pool. She doesn't need to use the water from, you know, her hose to fill the swimming pool and stuff. If she was that low on water, she could bring in water, which would probably be a whole lot less than running it out of her faucet. But I don't know. I just think it gets complicated. Kathy,
Is there a ballpark number of people who would be interested in having this?
you know, I don't know. I mean, there's like, how many users are there, Debbie? Like 450 users on the system?
No, there are fewer than that, and only 2 meters are read at the moment. You are talking about a significant amount of money that was spent, not spent on the sewer commission with 100 North Main. We're in the thousands, we're in the hundreds, you know, large hundreds of dollars. I think it's topping off the swimming pool more than watering.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's what sort of sent her over the top, sent her bill over the top.
Well,
I don't think we should change it.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
want to add more to Lyle's job, and I agree. We don't want to be in the business of going on people's properties. That's not what we need to be doing.
Hmm.
All right, I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so may I get a motion to have the Kent Sewer Commission continue as is, and it's the theory of water in, water out, and we will not I gotta think of how to phrase this. We will not look into allowing Kent Sewer Kent Sewer customers the opportunity to put in a separate meter for watering. I know that's really poorly worded. I'm sorry.
Beyond the 2 that we already have.
Yeah, except for the 2 we have.
Sure, I'll make, go ahead, see.
Or can we just say we want to leave it the way it is without going through all? Can we, isn't that the policy now?
It is the policy. I didn't know if we needed to put in the fact that independent water meters would not be permitted, or maybe we should just say it as such, that independent water meters will not be permitted for people who are part of the Kent sewer system.
I think that's clearer, and I would certainly make that motion.
Okay.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
More
And
thing?
Joyce will write that because I'll put it in the bills that are going out February 1st. So the timing is good.
Okay. Joyce,
Thank-
is that okay, the way it's worded?
It will be fine, yes.
Okay.
I got one more thing on that water meter thing. if
Yeah.
you don't mind. I would like to have 100 North Main's meter remotely be able to be read outside. So I don't have to go in those people's houses.
No, that's true. The thought of going into his house is definitely bizarre because, I mean, maybe he's fine, but maybe he sells his house and the next guy isn't so fine and,
Sure.
all of a sudden.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe we can include that, make that be a requirement to have him make sure his water meter is visible from the outside.
I think that's good.
We need to draft a letter to him, asking him to do that. Okay, sewer roof. Came up in we've been looking into getting pricing for a roof and stuff like this. And I know Steve started this project. We had an engineer go out and look at the roof. And I don't know, the answer we got back from this guy was so absurd because it did not address the roof. It didn't really address the roof at all. It just said what the loads were, which I guess we sort of already, I guess it was good that he wrote out what the loads on the roof are. But the way he did it, it's not allowing us to put in any new insulation into the roof. Is that how you read it, Lyle?
Yes, he basically said we have to just cover over what's there with metal. We can't add any R value at all. And
If the insulation that's in there now, though, because this was so not clear, if the insulation that's up in the roof now that is all kind of shot, would we be allowed to replace that, put in new insulation, and then put the roof on without it being a problem?
Steve Bertolo, or I think that's what his last name is, the guy from the actual roof company, he said that whatever we take out of there, he said that the insulation up there, he said it doesn't hold water because it's fiberglass. He said that should just be patched up and go over the roof. He said that the roof that would go over that would have a space in between the current roof and that roof, so there'll be an air barrier in there. And he felt that it wouldn't make any difference in the R value if we changed that insulation that's in there or if we left that in there without adding a substantial amount of insulation. So I contacted Bart about it to see what his thoughts were, and he's going to get a hold of Gary Riola, the engineer, Gary Riola, excuse me, and have a frank discussion with him. What can be done and what can't be done instead of this vague thing that was written up.
Yeah, because he never seemed to address what our needs were.
No, he just said that determined to adequate to support the imposed dead load, including the proposed roof system, live loading criteria to the current state of Connecticut building code. New insulation is allowed to be installed on the existing structure as would cause the existing roof framing system to become overstressed. Existing roof framing allowable and actual loads are as follows. And then what he said there, I don't know, just looking at it, looks like there was room to move with added weight, but apparently doesn't think so. So
Okay.
Bart is going to speak with them about that. How he came up with these conclusions too, with these figures, refer to it as being in school, show the math. How did you come up with these numbers?
No, I know, because I don't think it addressed what we need for it. And but didn't we have somebody come in and take a look at the roof as well?
That's who this
Is
GR
he part,
Engineering
is
is.
he? He's part of that, though? I mean,
Yeah,
he's not the person to put the roof on.
No, that's
Okay.
Steve Bartolo is the roofing contractor. This guy was a structural engineer, that Gary Riola.
Okay. So Bart, I guess the ball is in Bart's court right now that he's got
Yes.
to deal with this guy.
Yes, I spoke with him yesterday on it, as a matter of fact. He said he's gonna get in touch with him.
All right, you just cut out.
Oh, I spoke with Bart Clark yesterday and
Okay.
and Bart is gonna call him.
Okay,
Said didn't have time to call him yesterday, but he was gonna try to, over the next few days, try to get the home.
okay. And then I just need to understand the timing on this thing. So Bart needs to reach out to him, find out how he came up with these figures. And then we reach out to the roof man and say, this is what you're allowed as the figures to put the new roof on.
Yes.
All right,
And plus what, with a more detailed description of what we're allowed and what we can't, we'll have to go through the building department too.
okay,
But also the roofing company said that even if we approved, when I talked to him the other day, he said, even if we approved it today, he said it would be spring before they did the job anyways.
no, that's fine. I mean.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to
just
tell
wanna-
you what their timeframe was also.
Yeah, no, we just want to get this moving along because
Sure.
that roof is a mess, so, okay. All right, so, all right, then I'll figure to hear from Bart on it and stuff.
Yes.
The other thing is, and I know he's not here, but Lyle mentioned to me before about the time of the meeting. And the reason why we don't get Bart at the meeting is because the timing is not good. And I know, Steve, you've got a crazy schedule at school, and I didn't know if we maybe redid this. I don't know what time works for Bart best. You know, I wish he was on the meeting right now so we could sort of nail this down, but maybe we can, if we all did if I sent out a note to find out what times work better for people, and then maybe this way we can get Bart on these phone calls, which would be really helpful, especially going forward with a new roof and trying to get the aeration project under control or get that on the board. So, all right, so we will get something out of that. The other thing we need to discuss is a rate increase. I mean, we haven't had one in like a really long time, like really long time. Like, and I'm not trying to pull an Eversource, believe me, but I do think a modest, something that's reasonable should go in, and whether we have it effective, not for the next billing, but for the June billing, I'm not sure on the timing of, but I do think it's a conversation we need to have because, I mean, the rate has been flat for the last, I must say 10 years at least, which is a really long time, and as things are going up, and sort of, we're losing some septage income as well, that we need to pick up that difference somewhere. And I didn't know what people would think as a reasonable, but, sort of set a schedule where, I'm not saying every year there's an increase, but at least to have, it starts somewhere. And I think, I can reach out to Bart, what he thinks is he can take a look at what the area sewer plants are charging and stuff like that, get a sense of where our rate should be. But I do think it's something, or Barbara, I do think it's something we need to look into though.
Yeah, there's a process we have to follow. And it's sort of outlined, I think, in the statute. So I'll try to look at that and maybe I can type up a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type of process for us to look at so that
Okay.
everybody knows what we need to do.
And the other thing is if we could find out what other area water plants are charging. I mean, I don't know, if that's just general information that you can find out online, or we need to actually call them to see what the rates are and stuff. But, I think at least to get a sense of what everybody else is charging as far as rates are concerned, then we
The
can look
market
at it.
rate, sure. Yeah, I'll try to put that all into the same little
Okay.
research.
Okay. Great. Let's see. So that covers my add-ins onto the agenda here. Old business, I guess I sort of covered it there. Lyle, you want to give us your report?
Yep. The report is a little shortened because we've talked about a few things on it already. So anyways, the month of December, we had 1.8 million gallons total through the plant. It's a 58,000 gallon per day average. 628,000 gallons came from Kent School. Our average BOD and total suspended solids removal rate was at 98%. Average influent pH was 7.3. We spoke about Grant already. We spoke about the engineering already. We had cleaned out those two septic beds, happened right at the end, right before the last meeting. We finished off that. Also, Eversource over the Christmas holiday weekend pretty much dropped the ball on our power situation on the whole road, actually. Basically, trees came down on the lines and they kept on telling us that we would have power back in 2 days or 2 hours, 3 hours, and it ended up being 2 days. In which time I was in contact with Eric, the emergency management coordinator for the town. And we were trying to get Eversource to bring us a generator so we could get off our generator. We had fuel here, but what happened was we tried to refuel it with the transfer tank that was in the back of the pickup truck. And I just started putting fuel in it and the pump burned out. And of course, it was too late to get one over the holiday weekend. I talked to Rick. Rick's transfer tank in the back of his pickup for the town garage, that was non-functional also. So I was carrying 5-gallon cans of fuel from one side of the property basically to the other to put fuel in a generator. And so I spent most of my holiday weekend, or considerable amount of it, here at the plant, with Eversource bringing a generator and then not bringing a generator. And normally if they had just hooked it up, we're going to hook it up to the power lines on the pole, it wouldn't be that much of an issue of waiting for them to come or not come, but they didn't want to do that because there's so much damage to the power lines. They wanted to hook it right up to the incoming power here at the plant. So, like I said, needless to say, I spent my holiday here.
Did they ever bring you a generator?
Oh, at one time, I can show you a picture on my phone. They had 4 of them lined up right out here out in front. It was like one hand didn't know what the other one was doing. We got one generator and then another one came and another one came. It was 4 of them sitting out here. And then they ended up not hooking it up. They ended up repairing the power. But if you drive up Scotticook Road, down there past, down from here to the school, it's clear. But after the school to 341, the carnage down there with the trees it seems like since they trimmed back, it's gotten worse, power issues. I think they should underground the power there or cut the trees back so far that they can't fall on the lines. There's 2 or 3 spots, huge trees came down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
even
there were a lot of trees that came down that weekend too. It was crazy.
Sure. Even the lower lines, like the telephone and cable and all of that stuff. You go down Scotticook Road and they're this high. They droop way down. They're chest high. But that's for Eversource to decide, I guess.
Thank you
Yes.
for taking care of all that.
Yeah, no worries.
I know, but thank you.
Yes. Welcome.
Just to let you all know, another thing with this whole thing with Eversource and their bills about to gigantically go up, for whatever it's worth, I made a deal with I think it's Direct Energy, and the rate for the sewer plant is going to stay at 9.8 until like 2025, for whatever it's worth. Just like
Nice.
total fluke, but it worked out. And when I found out how long it's going to last, it's going to go to 2025 because the cheapest rates right now are like 15. And I think if you get it through Eversource, it's over 2. So At least it's not costing us $1 million in electricity, which is what it would have been costing. So anyway. Barbara, your report.
Okay, let's see if I can do a screen share. I'm working on my laptop, so. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so I did send these reports out Friday, excuse me. Typical reports, this is, the first one is the actual versus budget. And it goes through November. No, it goes through December, but I didn't change the heading up here apparently, because it does go through December, but that's just a typo on that column. But as you can see, as you discussed earlier, the septage fees are down, the sewer use fees are up. All the other costs seem to be basically in line with what was budgeted. Nothing's really too far out of whack. The electricity is up a little bit. Some of that is due to timing. The insurance, health insurance is down. That's because our new employee didn't take the health insurance package. We discussed last month, the materials and supplies is quite a bit over budget, and that's due to the extra sand that was ordered. Our payroll expenses are under budget, and that's because we hired the new person at a lower rate, but budgeted for the higher rate for the full year. The bottom line is even though the septage fees are down, we're still running at a profit, and that includes putting $13,000 to date into the transfer into the capital. So we're doing okay. See if I can go to my next challenge here. Okay, so here's the balance sheet. Can everybody see the balance sheet?
Mhm.
Okay. The very top part are our cash accounts. The ones that are in yellow are actually certificates of deposit that we hold in escrow for those other entities in case they have some damage to their lines. We can go fix that damage and it doesn't come out of our pocket. But the change in the cash assets from a year ago, we're down $42,000. But that's okay at this point. The other flip side of the coin here is that this amount here, due to the general fund, is down $108,000 from a year ago right now. So we're in pretty good shape still. And then the third document is the disbursement ledger. Ooh, I might not be able to see it well. I have to get rid of your faces so you can see. Oh, there you go. There really isn't anything outstanding on this. It's general expenditures for the month. I try to put in the detail as much information as I can so that as you're reading it, you can see what these expenditures correlate to. And that's all I have for everybody. And I just need the board to approve these disbursement ledger.
So may I get a motion to approve the disbursement ledger
So
for
moved.
Barbara? Second,
Second,
thank you. All in favor?
Right.
I,
Great. Debbie?
Oh, I just want to tell you that the sewer assessment bills will be going out February 1st. They're once a year. We originally had 17 people who were being billed and 6 have paid in full. So we're down to 11. So we're
Good.
whittling away.
That's good. How much is still out there? Do you know offhand?
Oh, that I don't know offhand. Oh, wait. How about, I do, $96,978.16.
Okay,
Wow.
that's good. That has come down. That's good. Well, we don't have a BART. So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, of course.
Last time, our last meeting, I asked you if you could talk to Bart about that hit list that he had about 2 years back. Where do we stand on that? Did you ever talk to him about?
I did. We've actually done quite a few things on that list. It's the ones that are the $500,000 and over category that we're working on chiseling at. But the next thing on the list that we're going to try and work on, and Bart is working on drawings for it to get some preliminary drawings, so then we can put it out for a bid, is for the aeration tank. So that's the next huge project, but a lot of the other little stuff had gotten done. Bart and I, or Lyle and I went through the list of couple months, I think when you asked about it, we went through the list of what we've actually done and what still needs to get done. I can find that out. I'll find it and then I'll send it out to everybody.
That'd
Because
be
I
great. Listen,
don't have it handy, but we've actually done quite a few things on that list that he had asked us to do and look into.
what's the status on the club getaway?
David, I spoke to him today. He is working with an engineer to get the original designs, and then they have to go to Bart to have him take a look at it to make sure that it's all covered, and then they go to zoning. But he is trying to, he was using some engineer that Bart wasn't really happy with, and I called David and I said, you know, the guy you're using is not one of the more recommended people, because he's not going to make it be more cost effective for you, because he's never done a project like this. So I think David actually switched engineers to use one of the guys that Bart had suggested, or I'm not sure if he switched or went back to his original engineer and showed him the things that Bart had told him to look into. But at any rate, he's probably looking at spring before he brings us any drawings about what they're up to. But he definitely knows he needs to make this happen, because the Board of Health gave him a cease and desist to, you know, that he needs to address this situation sooner than later.
The other question I have for you is Birch Hill. I mean, are they still thinking about doing anything? Or is it going to be in the shadows for a while?
I don't know. I've asked Donna over at zoning to see where they are, and it's still in a lawsuit with High Watch. I don't know, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think anything has happened with it still. It's still on a back burner. I mean, I wish High Watch would buy it and do something with it, or have somebody come along and buy it and make it be something, because that empty building is not going to be good when someone finally gets their hands on it, because empty space is never good. But at the present moment, it's still tied up in a lawsuit.
Okay, thank you.
Bless you, Kathy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So 4:43, unless anybody has anything else to add in, meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you all. See you next
You.
month.
Yep.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.